Good afternoon and welcome to the 239th episode of the Georgia Farm Bureau Georgia Prep Sports Drive for the GHSA State Title. Today's guests are going to be Westlake head coach Rico Zackery. I'm excited to talk about their offseason. They had a really solid year in 7A this past season, and they've got a great region. They'll have to play East Coweta, Carrollton, and they were really competitive last year, made it to the quarterfinals, and they've got a ton of talent. And then we're going to talk to Meadowcreek head coach Todd Wofford in the final slot. I'll also be breaking down some film of Taeo Todd, Troops quarterback, and just his specific skill set, one of the more unique players in the state. I don't know anyone else that passed for 2,000 and rushed for 2,000 last year, so I'm excited about that. But let's go ahead and see if we have Coach Zackery ready. Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Going
Can you
well.
hear me,
How
Coach?
you doing, man?
Oh, I'm
Yes,
doing
sir.
great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. So, yeah, let's just talk about second year at Westlake. It's obviously an outstanding program, great community support around it, a really nice area. So how have things kind of settled in with the Lions?
Uh, you know, everything's been, better in the second year, just, from an expectation standpoint, from, transitioning and, just in the weight room and at practice, everybody knows what we expect now. So, and everything's been really smooth, honestly. You know, we've been just kind of working on ourselves and trying to get better every day, man.
Yes, expectations were certainly high, and you have a great kind of perspective on all the talent in Georgia. You played at Georgia Southern, had an outstanding career there. You've coached there. You've coached at Kennesaw State. Talk a little bit about that, though, because, I mean, I grew up in Georgia, too. There wasn't a football program at Kennesaw State. It's really been a success story. So what was your experience like there with the Owls?
Yeah, I had a really good experience. I worked for a great head coach, Coach Bohannon, who knows Georgia inside and out. His dad was a longtime high school coach here in Georgia, so he knows how he kind of knows how everything goes in Georgia as far as high school athletics go. Just from his dad being in it for so long. But that program was a young program. Coaches got a great formula for that program. And developing effort, attitude, and toughness. And then from a talent standpoint, Georgia's loaded with talent. So everybody comes to Georgia to recruit. And I think that he's in a really nice location, and at a really nice place in order to get that kind of talent. So, we never felt like, we always felt like we could get good talent there at Kennesaw State. So, I think that, they're going to be a very, very successful program here going to FBS.
Yes, and you were specifically working on the defensive side of the ball, I think with the defensive linemen. And while you were there, the Owls had some tremendous success just in terms of the tackles for loss and that position group. So what was that like, and kind of just getting to focus on one position group at the college level?
Yeah, you kind of get to dial it back, but when I first got there, I told coach, I said, man, I didn't realize how much I was missing being able to, just have a single position as a head coach, and it's a grind when you got to go back in there and be a position coach, um, and so I enjoyed it though, and D line is something that I haven't been able to do throughout my career. But when I got there, I learned so much, as far as teaching pass rush and, teaching progressions at the D line. I've always been a secondary coach, so that actually helped me grow. And it was challenging at first, like anything else. You want a challenge, but it was very eye opening, and like I said, I learned a ton being able to coach those guys, and it helps to have really good players. It ain't all about the coaching. Sometimes it's about the Jimmy and the Joes.
Yeah, and that had to have been just a nice experience when you're used to coaching the secondary, kind of that new challenge, getting to know that position group. So How has the staff at Westlake kind of come together with you as head coach now? Is it the same as the first year?
Yeah, we had just one guy move on, as a family situation, which I totally understand. But this is a good place, man, and everybody that that's here, we all want to be here. We didn't we chose to be here, man. We love these kids. Like, they work harder than anybody I've ever had, and they just a joy to be around. So these guys here, they don't want to leave because we do got and mainly that's when it comes down to everything. I know everybody has to win and all that, but at the end of the day, man, it's all about the kids, and we love where we at as far as that goes.
Yeah, it's a really special place. I went by there last summer to drop something off. Everyone was really busy. It's a great area. Let's just talk about the athletics in general, though. I mean, the track and field this season, I mean, that's a huge part of the Westlake name recognition now. Obviously, the big invitationals and meets with AJ Terrell coming back, but I mean, talk about just some of the success Westlake had this season and some of the football guys that are just hitting national marks.
Well, first of all, Coach Cage and Coach Watson do an outstanding job with our track program. We try to Coach Cage and I have a lot of conversations, and just like I do with any other sport, trying to align and making sure that we got athletes, doing everything that they possibly can within the school and trying to help the whole school be successful. But yeah, we had some guys. Now, there's obviously some guys that run track that are just track athletes, but we had some guys that did cross over: Antoine Smith, Avion Terrell, um, Jaden Thomas, Warren Gaston was a thrower. So we definitely had some guys that contributed. But those guys do a great job, in developing those guys as track goes. And they're always successful, girls and boys. And they just, like I said, they do an outstanding job of developing their talent and continuing to stay competitive, no matter what the talent level like. They always competitive. And I think
And then,
that's
oh, sorry.
really what you want to be.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, those are some really exciting meets you guys are hosting as well. A huge part of the season that's blowing up. Um, Talk a little bit about the spring, how the schedule played out, when it ended, who you scrimmaged, and kind of what stood out to you.
We started spring back on May the 4th, and our schedule was every other day. Basically, we went Monday, Wednesday, Friday, practice, Saturday scrimmage, and then we watched film on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Kind of gave them a day in between to recover. Um, I thought the spring went well. I thought we got some good work in. Again, it would have been the second year, and the way that practice went, the speed and the pace of practice and the attention to detail was very, very different this year. It was really, really good this year compared to last year. So, we were excited about that. We ended up scrimmaging Douglas County, who I think is going to be a really good team in 6A. Uh, you know, it was a very competitive game. Obviously, you can see both defenses were ahead of the offenses, and I think that in any spring, that's kind of what you're going to get. Defense is a lot less little things and timing and all that kind of stuff that goes into offense. Defensively, if you could get lined up and you could get your guys to play with a lot of effort, you usually can be okay on the defensive side in the spring. But we're still searching on offense a little bit. We know what we want to do, but we got a brand new quarterback that we working. We got two guys that we actually working. So, those guys will get used to some things here in the summer and, get some timing down and some other things down. And we think we got a chance to be okay.
Yeah, Douglas County, you mentioned their defense. We got to see them play a bunch last year. Their quarterback, Hardaway, is unbelievable, but that defense was no joke. They were really talented, so that was a good test for sure. Talk about the dog of the day you guys gave out kind of at the end of each day of practice, how that came about, and just kind of the excitement around that tradition.
Actually, last year, right before we started spring, Rudy Griffin was going to be the defensive coordinator, and we had hired him from Lambs. Me and Rudy go a long way back. And right after spring, Rudy got an opportunity to go and coach at the college level at Northern Arizona. So he left, but he was the one that kind of started the dog of the day, and we just kind of carried it into this year. Um, we pride ourselves on team. The acronym team, toughness, effort, attitude, mentality, and we watch the film and we just look at guys who exert those things. And we try to figure out a dog of the day on defense. Depending on those things, and it's just you always want to try to give rewards for things that you want to stress and that you want to emphasize, and that was just something fun that we decided to do. The kids love it, so we're gonna continue to do that during the spring.
Yeah, and it had to have been just a really busy time for you guys as coaches too. I saw that one tweet in a couple weeks ago. You said your players received 35 offers in 1 week. So I mean, how many college coaches were coming by the campus during spring?
Well, I actually just got done typing up the list, um,
Okay.
in my board. I got a board here that's all the way full, but I typed up the list. We had 117 colleges.
Jeez.
Maybe I missed a few, but we definitely had that many come through when looking at the ones that came to practice and the ones that stopped through and talked during the day. We in a great location, being right next to the airport, so everybody usually stops through. But we also got good players and good kids too, and people are attracted to them. So, they stop by. We got high academic students. We got really good players. We got whatever you're really looking for. So, I definitely see why. And when I was at Kennesaw, you always had to come to Westlake because you never know what you're gonna get out of it. Just always gonna have some people that you could help make the program better on and off the field.
100%. And then some guys that might be able to add like that versatility where they can play multiple positions. Travis Smith, I know he's listed as a receiver athlete. He's got some serious size to him. So, I mean, what did you see from him in spring? What's his future looking like?
Oh, Travis has a very bright future. First of all, he's a great kid and a good student. But he works hard. And you wouldn't know he was there if it weren't for his size and the way that he goes about his practice. Because he's not he don't talk a lot and do some of all of that good stuff. He just comes in and goes to work every day. I think that this year is going to be a really big year for him. He's kind of learned. He's came up through it. He's going to be a much more physical guy. He can run, big, he's strong. We just got to find different ways to use him.
Yep, and talk a little bit about the quarterback battle. Obviously, replacing R.J. Johnson, it's a big key to this offseason. But how has that kind of helped just the tempo in practice, just having two guys competing for that big role?
Yeah, first of all, losing, we lost two key pieces last year, RJ and Jaden. They were two of our more productive players. But guys got to be ready to step up. And those two quarterbacks, Sean Smith and Jalen Bester. Jalen's a transfer. Jalen transferred in from Mississippi, but I think he was in Georgia before he went to Mississippi. And these guys, we try not to make it too hard on them. Just allow them to kind of come into their own and get comfortable in the system, and take some leadership and ownership of what we got going. And they've taken some good reps, but we looking forward to the summer to get them even more reps and kind of see which guy's going to be the guy.
Yep, and you said that the defense might be a little ahead at this point. That's usually something we see around a lot of these programs. So, I mean, who has been really stepping up and setting the tone for you guys on that side of the ball?
We got 7 guys returning starters, and all of them just as much as the other. And Raymond Mosby has kind of stepped in that leadership role as a corner. We had Avion last year, and Raymond's, similar. Raymond's a really good player. Christian Peterson's been good. Christian was good last year for us. Our defensive line, we're going to be counting on a lot. We're going to want them to kind of set the tone of the game. We got a lot of guys returning there. All 4 starters plus one, John Betts. And so we're really excited about that, and we're really excited about our secondary as well. We got those guys coming back. Demarius Hines, Tyler McKinstry started last year. Um, up front, Harper Holloman, Kendall Farmer, Alonzo Jackson, Antoine Smith. All these guys were starters for us last year. So, I do feel like they may have to carry us early on in the season until we catch up. Um, but that's normal when you got a lot of guys returning on defense.
Yep, that would be huge. And then I'm assuming it's going to be the same non-region schedule as last year: North Cobb, Crisp, Cedar Grove, Southwest DeKalb, Newton, and Collins Hill.
Yes, sir. It'll be the same exact schedule. We'll still play Cedar Grove and Southwest DeKalb at home, but everybody else will flip locations basically.
Okay, got it. And then, yeah, that's a big time matchup out the gates with North Cobb. You guys faced them last year when they were fully healthy. It's a really tight game, a tough debut. But what did you guys take away just from that battle?
There was a lot of different things we took away from that. They were a really good opponent. These non-region games are they're tough, but it does prepare you for when you go into your region play and get ready for the playoffs. So it's kind of good and bad. But North Cobb, we definitely learned a lot. Some game management things we learned. We learned a lot about us as a team and what we were good at. And we were able to simplify everything that we tried in that game down to who we were and what we were going to be. And you always do that. We always say the best teams make the most improvement from game one to game two, and I think we made a lot of improvement from game one to game two.
Yep, and then your region, just 5 teams, but I think it's going to be really intriguing. Pebblebrook, they have Coach Woolridge now, one of the faster teams in the state with some of their skill guys. Carrollton, they're coming off that incredible run to the finals. Got some big receivers, a great quarterback. East Coweta is always tough. They can show up and beat anyone, and then Campbell also. So, I mean, what's this region looking like, and how excited are you to be able to compete for the region title this year?
Yeah, we definitely excited about the opportunity to compete for a region title. We try to, that's one of our goals every year to compete for that, and so, but like you said, this region's tough, so you really can't, you can't take any one of them for granted. You got to go and play every week. Um, you know, like you said, Pebble Brooks got a lot of team speed, new coach. I know Coach Woolridge. I've kept up with him, so I know he'll do a great job. Me and Coach King been friends for a very very long time. He's always going to do a great job. So Carrollton's got a great program, and so does East Coweta. And Coach Small do a great job. So I know Campbell has a new coach, but they'll be well coached as well. So there's really no time to play around. You really got to go into each game ready to go, and man, you just got to take it one week at a time.
For sure. And then I got to ask, you guys faced Mill Creek in the quarterfinals. I mean, I went to a lot of their games last year late in the season. They were as good as any team I've ever seen. But, I mean, what was that game like, just kind of running into a team that was just clicking on all cylinders? And then kind of what are your guys going to take away from that experience, and how has that kind of motivated you guys, knowing that you faced the state champs last year, played them really well, but now it's an opportunity to get to the finals?
I mean, we felt good about being in that position to and we knew they were a really good team. You know what I mean? Like you said, it had been happening, the whole season, so you could definitely see where they were clicking and everything. But I don't know how much you know, it was a great opportunity to play against them and everything, and and we know exactly what it looks like now because they did win the state championship. But I don't see us really taking anything into this year from that, other than we know we can be in a position to play with those types of teams. We got to make sure that we take advantage of every opportunity. You only get one shot, and so we got to make sure we take advantage of every opportunity this year, whether it be against them or whoever it is.
Absolutely. And then last question, just what's this off season or the summer looking like for you? And then do you have any other scrimmages before you guys kick things off with North Cobb?
Yeah, in the fall we're going to scrimmage Creekside, which will it'd be another awesome opportunity to get better and get ready for that first game. They'll be a lot like us, and Coach Dixon does a really good job with them. So we're looking forward to that. Throughout the summer, we do the things that we normally do in the summer. We'll be working out. We'll do some 7-on-7s. We are going to the UGA 7-on-7. We went last year, and then we'll do 2 shoulder pad camps just to kind of get ready. Other than that, it's every day try to get better.
Awesome. Well, Coach Zackery, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to have to catch up later on in the offseason. I'm going to go through just your roster, look at all these college prospects and guys that are going to be playing big roles this year. I'm excited. Can't wait to see you guys out there. And thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
You bet. All right, so there goes Coach Zackery. And a couple of the names he brought up, Juan Gaston. If you recall, that is just one of the biggest offensive linemen in the state. He started as a freshman, debuted in the Corky Kell against Archer 2 years ago, and was just so dominant. Westlake ended up winning the game by 2 touchdowns. I think it was 28-14. They very easily could have won that game by 30 or 40. Currently, Juan Gaston is listed as 6'7", 335 pounds, offensive tackle. He's going to be a junior next season. He's the number 8 offensive tackle in the country, number 13 rated prospect right now, a top 100 recruit, and then he has been offered by Alabama, Arkansas, Colorado, Florida, and Florida State. As Coach Zackery mentioned, 117 college coaches stopped by the campus during spring. Their guys accumulated 35 offers in 1 week. And you just had guys stepping up in the scrimmages. Coaches were there, offered on the spot. Westlake has that type of talent. You look at them last season, those regular season losses were extremely close. 21-17 to North Cobb out the gates. That was a team where I think if Malachi Singleton was healthy, it didn't get hurt. They competed with Buford last year. They could have competed with anyone. And so that was a good way, and then they bounced back, had great success in the region, and then just came 1 win shy of a region title. That was obviously the loss to Carrollton 28-19. But otherwise, they beat Collins Hill, Newton big, Southwest DeKalb, which was a talented team. The Cedar Grove game is going to be huge, and then Crisp County, another very talented opponent. I expect Westlake. A lot of people are talking about Walton, Milton, Colquitt County, obviously Carrollton, Mill Creek, Buford. But Westlake has got to be in that conversation. I've seen some early rankings come out. I haven't seen Westlake anywhere on there, and I think that might be a mistake. But we shall see. I just think heading into year 2, the foundation that's at Westlake, an unbelievable community in Fulton County. They're going to be playing Creekside in their scrimmage. They swept the track and field state championships, boys and girls, in 7A. That's not easy to do, and they just have a lot of excitement surrounding that program. Cannot wait to see year 2 with Rico Zackery, an awesome head coach and proud Georgia Southern alum. Coached there, coached at Kennesaw State. But let's go ahead. We'll take a quick break and thank our sponsors, Georgia Farm Bureau.
Our mission has always been to support Georgia farmers. That's why we created Georgia Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, providing financial protection that farmers needed. While this remains the same today, we've grown to protect all Georgians through home, auto, and life insurance. From the very beginning and into the future, we stand for every Georgia community.
We are our Farm Bureau.
All right, welcome back. So the baseball state championships, before we get into some other news, they split yesterday. It's the Class A Division II. Hold up, that was Coach Wofford just texted me. But yeah, Class A Division II. So the final game is going to be today. That's Charlton County and Emmanuel County Institute. Yesterday, Charlton County won game 1 3-1, and then ECI force Game 3 with a 5-4 victory. That is going to be at 7 o'clock, and it will wrap up the baseball season. So that means tomorrow we will have the final baseball rankings out and posted at scoreatl.com. Looks like in the series, Charlton County did all its scoring in the bottom of the 4th inning before holding on for the victory. Senior Jude Shaw put Charlton up 1-0 on a throwing error by ECI. Junior Heath Ray tripled to right field to score senior Ian Vickers and sophomore David Walters. So that was the 3-1 victory in the opener, and then ECI bounced back 5-4. So we will also have that recap up at Score ATL tonight, so you can find it there. The Golf State Championships wrapped up, so let's go over that real quick. All right, so on the girls' side, Lambert, and that might do it in terms of the Directors' Cup. They've been phenomenal out of Forsyth County, where there's a bunch of big-time programs. Glen Academy won the 6A girls. This is golf. Greenbrier, Class 5A. North Oconee, Class 4A. Savannah Christian, Class 3A. Pierce County, 2A. And then Lake Academy and Darlington. And then on the boys' side, Milton won the 7A. Glen Academy won 6A. Cambridge 5A. Lovett 4A. Wesleyan 3A, Mount Perrin 2A, Lake Oconee Academy, and Prince Avenue in the A Division 1 and A Division 2. So that means that Glen Academy swept the titles, and Lake Oconee Academy swept the titles. So congratulations to them, the boys and girls, getting Golf State titles. That's big time. Let's see, the top individual in 7A was Rohan Gapaldis. He had a -8. He is out of North Gwinnett. Luke Abel tied for second at Carrollton. It's a name I've heard. I think he's definitely a multi-sport athlete. And then on the girls' side, Athena Yu -1 for Lambert. And then in 6A, Glen Academy's Williamson Mosher -3. And then on the girls' side, Alpharetta's Mahima Virapatur. And so I'm trying to see the best overall score. I think that was the North Gwinnett guy with a -8. And then on the girls' side, it was Mary Miller from Savannah Christian, shot a -7. So that's a great job by them. All right, so let's go to a couple clips I want to show you that we're going to talk about. A player that I think is going to be really exciting to watch this year, because we've been talking about Taeo Todd for a long time. And when I was looking for clips, I saw he had middle school highlights that were the same. And so this is a guy mentioned at the beginning of the show. He rushed for 2,000 yards last year. He passed for 2,000 yards last year. That's extremely unique. We don't see that too much anymore. And how is he able to do that? It's because he is so hard to tackle in the open field. He's great at extending plays, and so you can have the perfect defense lined up against him. He'll break one tackle, and then once the play breaks apart, you'll see exactly what he can do. So let's run a couple of these clips. I'll analyze it. Yeah. So there's two of them. One's going to be a pass, one's going to be a run. But it's kind of the same flavor. So here's this. Look at this escape move. This is against, I believe, Hardaway at the beginning of the season. So we'll see if we can play that more than once. But he's trying to take it up the middle. The defense collapses. And we actually have an aerial view of this. You've got all these jerseys around him. Next thing you know, he's breaking outside, 65, 60-yard touchdown. So yeah, here's the aerial view. See him get upfield, spins out of that tackle, spins out of that one too, bounces outside, and there's nothing you can do from there. He's gonna take it all the way. And what is Taeo Todd going to play at the next level? That's going to be really interesting. He's listed as an athlete right now. Troop is one of the few schools that actually has had kind of a reputation of guys playing different positions in college. Kobe Hudson's a great example of that. But with Taeo, you have a guy that's been playing quarterback since the middle school days. So yeah, let's look at this play too. And this was in the playoffs against Holy Innocents. All right, so let's see. You'll see him buy that extra time, eyes downfield, and just a perfect throw. And that's a Holy Innocents team that was one of the better defenses last season. They had plus 24 in the turnover margin, didn't give up a lot of big plays. But that's what it takes. A special player like Taeo Todd is able to get outside, buy the extra time, and then find his receivers. And if you look at Troop this season, they are absolutely loaded with skill players. They have talent absolutely everywhere. Let's see. Isaiah Hall. He is a 6'3", 260-pound right tackle defensive lineman. He just picked up an offer from Alabama State. Let's see. We'll get to some of these playmakers as well. Have this tab open one sec. On the offensive line. Hold on one sec. It's a guy that's been blowing up. Okay, so we have Quay Birdsong. He's committed to Cincinnati right now. 4-star, Under Armour All-American rusher, 6'3", 200 pounds, plays linebacker, flies around the field. One of the better pass rushers in the country. Then you have Noah Dixon, a big-time playmaker, plays safety. He's 6'2". He had so many big plays this season in some of those tough region games. Let's not forget the region Troops in. LaGrange, Stars Mill, Whitewater, Trinity Christian. It's the best region in 4A in terms of you got 5 teams that are probably going to be in the top 10 at one point. Noah Dixon is that 6'2" safety that can make that play where you might be throwing a 50-50 ball or even think that wide receiver is open. He's going to come in. He's going to get that interception. He did that time and time again last year in the key moments. And then let's see. And yeah, Troop has about 6 or 7 guys that are kind of going together to these big-time recruiting events. Went to the Georgia Tech game together, and they are all on the radar. Yeah, Trey Blackman, he is he's a wide receiver, and then his brother is on the offensive line. He is absolutely blowing up. I think that's Jatarius. He's one of the bigger offensive line presence, and he picked up an offer from Ole Miss when he was 14, when he was out there playing as a freshman. So Troop may have graduated some seniors, but all these underclassmen have multiple years of starting experience. And then you have Taeo Todd, a quarterback that is entering his 4th season. He closed in on 5,000 all-purpose yards last year. He is going to be on everyone's radar. And then the big question is, what position is he going to play at the next level? Where's he going to end up going? Is he going to play a slot receiver? Is he going to play running back? He's really strong. He's squatting 500 pounds. You saw the breakaway speed right there. He's really hard to tackle. And I think if he's focused in on a specific position, you're going to see him really flourish at the next level. And we will definitely be updating you guys on that, because they're going to get a really exceptional athlete, someone that has had a truly unforgettable career. And that was Yeah, Noah Dixon, the big 6'2" safety I was talking about, he's squatting 465 pounds, and he is coming downhill to hit you. So beware of Troop this year. If you want to go listen to our interview with Coach Glisson last week, that's on the Score Atlanta YouTube page. I highly suggest it. All right, so let's talk about Meadowcreek before we get on Coach Wofford. And I believe Coach Wofford, when we were talking about Collins Hill, when they had the run to the 7A state title, that entire coaching staff kind of went out, and a lot of those assistants took head coaching roles. Todd Wofford, I believe, was the assistant head coach that year with Sam Horn, Travis Hunter, and really helped them have an up-tempo offense. Yeah, he was at Collins Hill for that. He coached the East team in the 2023 Adidas All-American game. He's been at Central Gwinnett as well, and he's back in Gwinnett at Meadowcreek. So it's a 7A program. He's trying to get them into the playoffs, up at that standard that he experienced at Central Collins Hill. I think it's going to be interesting. We didn't really get to have him on last season. He's obviously extremely busy with his first year, but let's look at their schedule real quick. And it is a fairly new school. I don't think it's been open too long. Hold up, I think he's going to be ready to go. All right, he says he's in. Najee, do we have Coach Wofford ready? Okay. Text him to try again. But yeah, they were 7-4 last year, 4-2 in Region 7. That's with Norcross, Duluth, Berkmar, and then they had the honor of playing Mill Creek in the first round last year. Tough draw for sure. But that was a 59-22 game. They had a shootout with North Gwinnett, so I think with them, it's the same sort of up-tempo offense he had at Collins Hill. He's turning them into that where they can take advantage. If there's another team that might be a little more like oversized up front than they are, they can spread it out, hit them with tempo, and do a lot of things to dictate their own pace. They had a pretty successful run last year, a win over Campbell, GAC in the opener, Arabia Mountain, Peachtree Ridge, and Discovery. So a nice debut season. Coach Wofford, thank you for coming on. How is it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you guys?
Doing well. So how has the spring been coming off that first season with the Mustangs? Looks like, last year you guys were able to have success offensively. Just how's the team look overall?
Well, we had, first of all, thanks for having me, but we had a pretty productive nobody got injured. Nobody was hurt. Trying to build off of what we did last year, like you said, 73 regular season, which, actually tied the school record for win in the season. We had a, pretty good debut season, putting in, I heard you talking about the tempo and whatnot. So, it took us a little while to get that going and get everybody on the same page with it. But, we ended up, breaking several school records. Gwinnett County is Gwinnett County. So, we were in, some battles, week in, week out. And, Like you said, also we drew the short straw and got Meadowcreek in the first round. But I do like having those experiences for the guys so that they know what it's like to be in a pressure situation against some of the best teams really in the country.
Yeah, I was definitely impressed. The 7 wins, that was, as you said, a tied a school record. You guys still are looking for that first ever playoff win. Last year was tough. You had to go up against the eventual state champs, but I mean that had to have been a big boost just for the program and the guys you have returning. Just the success you guys were able to have last year and kind of establish that foundation where the Mustangs are going to be competitive week in and week out. It's going to be an exciting brand of football, and you guys know you can go toe to toe with these teams.
Obviously, anytime you have take a new job, the transition. Um, that's why I kind of say we were a little bit ahead of the game because a lot of kids they kind of show the kids instead of just tell me. So they bought into what we do, and saw some success that we might not have had in the past because we beat GHC. It was the first time the beating GHC in school district, and it's the same. So some things that they hadn't done before we were able to do. Um, Also, we had first D1 signee ever from Meadowcreek, and we actually had 3 of them that signed. It's a process to get a code. Expectations are different, so that the underdogs, these kids who handle the and expect for people, saying, Meadowcreek's going to roll over that. They know that they got to prepare for, be ready for, a fast and physical night.
Yep, and then last season you guys averaged about 240 yards passing per game, 160 rushing. You're going to be replacing some pieces, but kind of what do you feel the balance is going to be this year, just in terms of being a team that's able to pass the ball well and then run when you need to?
Well, the thing is, I've had kind of a reputation for throwing it around a lot, but it's really based on what you have. We had a really good running back last year, Jordan Lewis, that signed with North Carolina, that ran for 50 yards, and people expected. So, it's based on what we have personnel. So, one thing that we do have coming back is a really, really good offense. Um, will help us do a lot of things that, um, to be creative, in the run game and pass game.
Yeah, that will be key. And so, who has handled the quarterback duties this offseason? What can we expect from that position?
Well, we have a couple of kids that are, kind of fighting out right now through spring. Marcus Mitchell, who will be a rising senior. He was there last year, learning the system. We have a rising sophomore, Your Highness Carter, who has a really, really explosive arm and really athletic. So those two will go through the summer to figure out which one will win the job in the fall.
Awesome. And then in terms of the skill guys, who stood out this spring? Who's been making the big plays that you guys are going to need in those kind of key downs?
Well, we have we can turn to on that. One of the probably, I guess, the top tier name, Bob, the returner, a two-way guy. He's such a corner. And he played slot for me last year. He's going to get a lot more attention on offense this year. Also, Denarion Moxie, who he'll be back. He was injured last year, came back at the end of the season, and he's a very explosive kid, very rich kid. So those guys. Quentin Knuckles is another returning guy that So we have a few options on offense to spread it around.
And then how did spring go? Who'd you guys scrimmage, and kind of what was your overall takeaway?
Well, we scrimmaged Sequoia, same team we scrimmaged last year, and they're a wing T team, and not a lot of well, no teams in Gwinnett really runs wing T, and it's not as in style as it used to be, but it's something that I really wanted to face to make put pressure on the defensive guys to be disciplined and be sure of their assignments because it's a tough defense tough offense to handle. So especially after 8 days of truly 8 days of practice and not really working for a wing T type of thing. So I saw like any spring practice some ups and downs. And just things that I know going into the summer that the kids know they know that they have to key on and work on, and coaches as well.
And then what's the senior class looking like this year? About how many guys do you have in it, and who's stepped up kind of as that vocal and just team leader this offseason?
Well, we have a good number. I think don't have a huge number of seniors, but we have a solid number of seniors, somewhere around 15 to 17. Some guys that actually stood out was Moxie again. He's a natural leader. Also, one of the big tackles, Donovan Thompson, has really taken control, and the kids follow his lead. Even though it's kind of easy, 600-pound kid, but he just has personality that brings. Also, Jordan Allen, who is is a returning starter, he's done a lot to kind of step up the game and push guys to work hard, weight room on the field and everything else, and has been a lot more vocal than he was last year as well.
Yep, and then just what are your overall kind of takeaways from the non-region schedule? You're going to be playing GAC again. You guys beat them last year. They're obviously going to come back trying to get that win. And then South Gwinnett, game 2, with Coach Lamar over there. That's a really talented football team. So talk about those two big matchups to start things off.
I've known me and Coach Hardy kind of started same time at Central, and he was at Mountain View. So I've known him for years. He's an outstanding coach. And GAC is a traditional, Gwinnett power. We executed, had a good game plan last year, and came out on top. We know this year that that's always tough to get a team back to back. So we're ready for have to get ready for everything against them. But we all, like I said, I know they'll be well coached, and Coach Lamar. He's always a tough, sound-minded coach. They're going to be great defensive-wise. Like you said, they have a ton of talent. So we just got to work. We're working all summer for week 1, but also knowing that week 2 is going to be just as tough with those two.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming on. I'm glad we got to catch up. We'll have to touch base later on this offseason, but best of luck the rest of the summer, and we'll see you next season.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot again for having me on.
You bet. All right. So there goes Coach Wofford. A lot of talent, like his seniors, 15 to 17 of them. They're coming off a school record 7-4 season. They played Meadowcreek in the first round. Pretty competitive game considering what Meadowcreek was doing throughout the playoffs. I mean, they technically blew out Carrollton in the state championship if you looked at just the margin of victory, even though Carrollton still made it a good game. Meadowcreek played really well, and then Coach Wofford, he was at Central Gwinnett from 2010 to 2019, had some great seasons there, battling in Gwinnett year in and year out. A ton of prospects came through the Black Knights, and then he took the job at Collins Hill, won the state title with them, running that high-octane offense, and then gets to Meadowcreek, plays that Gwinnett schedule once again. So he's got familiarity there. And then I think the big thing he mentioned was Meadowcreek had its first, I think he said Power 5 signee and that's huge. Once you have players in your program getting the big opportunities that was signed at North Carolina, their running back, that just puts a spotlight on the program. Guys want to stay. They know the opportunities there, and it's 7A football, so that's always great. But that's all we have today. You can go to scoreatl.com for our latest, the baseball results from last night, and then our YouTube page. Najee and I were back with Underrated and Overlooked. Yesterday we talked a lot about some of the interesting things going on trend-wise in recruiting, specifically with South Carolina, Cincinnati, two programs that I think will be interesting this upcoming season. Cincinnati going into the Big 12, and then South Carolina currently has a top 10 recruiting class for the first time in 15 years, and they are obviously getting a lot of prospects from our state. We'll see if they can hold on to them, but yeah, go there, check it out, and I'll be back on Friday. Najee will be returning tomorrow. He's back from vacation. That's Keeping It Real with Najee Wilkins. I'm looking forward to that, but we'll see you then.